Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover as seen in the title, and we have a bonus today. We'll be exploring the top selling singles of all time based on digital downloads in the United States, where Eminem registers free entries, and we'll get to this at the latter part of the video. And as always, if you're new here and you enjoy content like this, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and we just hit 50,000 subscribers, so a huge thanks goes out to those of you that made this possible. Believe it or not, there was a time when 10,000 looked nearly impossible. So once again, thanks for the support, and don't forget to like the video to keep the train moving. And we'll start with Eminem's latest. This just in, Eminem's 2002 album that predates streaming platforms has reportedly topped 500 million streams in 2020 alone on Spotify. And to put things in perspective, there's a few albums considered classics in the hip-hop genre that are yet to earn 500 million streams on Spotify. And every day the narrative that Eminem's music has aged badly gets even more ridiculous with feats like this. Now, using RIAA's formula for converting streams to sales in the United States, 500 million streams will be the equivalent of selling 333,000 equivalent album units via Spotify alone in 2020. And this is lowballing it, since the streaming formula used in other countries are mostly lower than RIAA's 1,500 streams to one album sale. In the United Kingdom, for instance, it is 1,000 to 1, so you get the point. Following the news, despite the Eminem show's universal reputation as a classic, that didn't stop comments like this from dropping. Doesn't make him the best, which gets this in response. Praise from Rakim, Kane and G-Rap does make him one of the best, and y'all need to keep track of these records, because I can't believe how it became a thing to say Eminem's music doesn't age well when his classic albums to this day leave other classic albums in the dust based on objectivity. Opinions may vary, but this is a fact. It is important to acknowledge one of the main driving forces for this, among others, is Till I Collapse. And if you told someone back in 2002 that Till I Collapse will be the most popular single from the album nearly 2 decades later on a platform, it would have been perfectly reasonable for them to call you delusional back then. And this non-single hit is swiftly approaching 1 billion streams on Spotify, with Without Me next in line at over 700 million. By the way, here's a fun fact about Till I Collapse. It is actually the best-selling non-single of all time in the United States, and if it continues to be a favorite of streamers, it has a shot at a diamond certification in the United States a couple of years down the road. We'll get to more on all-time digital download sales in a bit. And moving on, Eminem's Infinite turns 24 years old today, an album that reportedly sold just 1,000 copies initially. And Eminem's associate Denaun, who worked on that album, had a few words to share about the significance of this album. On Instagram he stated, "Wow, 24 years today, I began a journey with one of the first artists I believed in as a producer/beat maker, and sometime before, through creating with him, gained one of the closest and best friends in my life. Though the album didn't sell much, it taught us to be ourselves." Fast forward, we went to Africa a couple of decades later and saw a kid holding up an Infinite sign in the front row. Talk about full circle. Hey Eminem, I think it's safe to say we did it, huh, broski? Shout out to IQ for introducing us, bro. You saw it before anyone. And shout out to my day ones. A fun fact about this one is that J. Cole, who was heavily influenced by Eminem, stated that Eminem's Infinite is one of his favorite songs, and looking back, this is said by an elite rapper today about a song that was on an album that only managed 1,000 copies back in the day. And in reaction to the news on Twitter, a user states, "From selling only 1,000 copies to becoming the best-selling rapper of all time." And it's time for me to pull out the calculator once again to reveal that Infinite technically has done much better in recent years than just 1,000, thanks to the release of the remastered version of the title song Infinite. On Spotify, for instance, it has now topped 22.7 million streams, and referring back to RIAA's formula, that is roughly the equivalent of an extra 15.1 thousand equivalent units from there. Not much, but hey. Moving on, Chart Data compiled the 50 best-selling digital downloads of all time in the United States, a list based on actual sales back when listeners had 2 choices to listen to singles on their digital devices: buy from a digital store or Napster/LimeWire/Aries, if you know what I mean. And Eminem scored 3 entries on the all-time list. Not Afraid came in at number 46 with pure sales of 5.95 million, Love the Way You Lie at 27 with sales of 6.9 million, and as expected, Eminem's highest on the list, Lose Yourself, came in at number 11 with sales of 7.74 million. Lose Yourself at 7.7 1.7 million sold took the record for best-selling hip-hop song by a solo artist on the list, and since digital sales have fallen in recent years, this is a record that will be frozen in time for hip-hop. Here's some perspective on why that is. The best-selling song in the US in 2018 was Perfect by Ed Sheeran at 1.09 million copies sold, according to BuzzAngle Music Report, which shows how digital downloads have fallen. Hence why Lose Yourself will hold that position in our lifetime. That will be all. Comment below and see you on the next one.